to the Teaching Corner. Today I wanted to talk to you about special education teachers and what special education teachers do. If you have a child who has a diagnosis, or if you are a special educator, sometimes all of a sudden we have all of these different people that start working with our kids, and it's really important to know the different jobs and what they do so that when we have a difficulty or child is having a particular problem in class or at school, at home, we know who we should go and talk to. So today I wanted to talk about special education teachers. They have to have a bachelor's degree from an accredited college in order to teach. Most special education teachers will get just general special ed, but if you want to, certain areas can specialize. Like I wanted to get a bachelor's in teacher for the deaf and hard of hearing, so you can specialize, but most teaching colleges will have a degree in special education in general. To get that kind of degree, there are fewer options. So like I know, and it may or may not be true still at this point, but when I was going to college a few years back, there was only one college in a 3-state area that had teacher for the deaf and hard of hearing as a major. I could get it as a minor, like special ed in a lot of different places, but deaf education only as a minor, and I wanted to have it as a major. So they have to have a bachelor's degree to practice, but you can go on up to a master's. Most people who have a doctorate in special education are looking to be administrators in the special education field. Every now and then you'll find someone with a doctorate still in the classroom. But special education teachers can sort of be divided into three. You can look at it in 3 different ways or categories. So you can look at it as what age group they teach. So preschool, elementary, middle school, and high school. To be a preschool special education teacher, you have to have a degree in early childhood development. If you want to be a high school teacher in special ed that is working towards a diploma, then you have to have some more credit hours in a particular subject area like English or math. Another way to think about it is to look at what kinds of students they work with. So like I said, you can have a person who has just a general special ed degree and they may have all different kinds of students in their classroom. Then you do have some that specialize like in learning or intellectual disabilities. You might have someone who specializes in deaf and hard of hearing or blind. You might have a teacher that specializes in autism. So there's sometimes special education teachers can be looked at that way. And then finally, another way that you could look at it is possibly where they teach. So for instance, you could have co-teachers where you have the regular ed teacher and the special education teacher in the same classroom, and they're both teaching the class. So they may take turns, one may teach one day, one may teach another day, or something like that, but they're both teaching all of the students in the class. And then you can sometimes have it where you have the regular ed teacher and then it's an inclusion setting where the special ed teacher is in the classroom but off to the side and is teaching a small group of students, say at a table over here, while the regular ed teacher is teaching the rest of the class. Then you can also have a resource setting where a special ed teacher will come and pull students out of the regular ed class for one, maybe 2 subjects. So maybe they come out for reading and math, or just reading or just math, and then all of the other subjects are taught in the regular ed classroom. You can also have a self-contained situation where the special education teacher is with that class and those students all day. The one thing that I would say about that though is even if it's an inclusion classroom, I'm a strong believer in a least restrictive setting, and that those students should still be able to go with their regular ed peers for lunch, recess, specials, things like that, unless there's some reason like behavior behavior-wise where a student can't participate safely with the rest of their classroom, then that wouldn't be the least restrictive environment. But for most children, even if they are in an inclusion setting, they still should be able to be with their same age peers during those other times of the day. And then finally, you can have specialized schools where a student with a particular disability is served. So most states will have a school for the deaf and blind. Some of those campuses are combined and it'll be on one place, or some places will have a school for the deaf and a school for the blind. I know that there are some states that have a school for students on the spectrum. So sometimes you can have a specialized school where they're going to have professionals that specifically work with those kinds of kids. So what exactly is a special educator's job? Well, as it implies, we're teachers. Our main focus is the education of your child. So that's what we're looking at, is we're trying to educate your child, and we're looking at the needs of your child, looking at their psychological report, looking at the curriculum, and we're adapting, changing for your particular child. So if a child is diploma bound, then we may have sometimes accommodations that we suggest for a particular child, and that the team will agree upon. Oftentimes the special education teacher will be the person who implements those. For example, if a child has read aloud, they might go to this special ed teacher's classroom where the teacher will read the test to them, like during state testing. If they're supposed to be tested in a separate setting, they may come to my classroom for that. If there's different things, different ways that a teacher, like if a student is supposed to get teacher notes, there may be me working with the regular ed teacher to make sure that those things are happening or whatever, but I'm always working with the regular ed teacher to make sure that we're meeting those goals and that we're progressing like we should be. We're also constantly problem solving. If there's a particular issue or a behavior that's coming up, you might be the one that's called into the teacher's classroom to help solve that particular problem. So I hope that was helpful. If it was, please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you later. Bye!